Hello, my name is Gretchen Ivy, and I am an IELTS instructor at West London Tuition Academy. And today we are going to talk about some of the features of the IELTS reading test and so you can develop some skills to help you with some of the tests on the reading section of the IELTS exam. So let's begin. Okay, so one of the tasks that you might have to do on your IELTS exam is look at the features of an actual reading passage. Now, this isn't what the passage says. This is what features it has on it, various ways to present information. Okay. A typical IELTS question might look something like this. Label the reading passage with the correct letters in the box from A to G. So you have a feature from A to G, and you might be asked to identify those on the passage. Now, one thing about IELTS is there quite often might be one left over that you don't use, so be aware of that. Okay, but before we get into actually doing that and picking apart that article, I thought it might be useful to go through what each of these means. It could be that you don't know what these words mean in English, or you might know them as something else. Okay, so our first feature is the footnote. Now, a footnote, you quite often find this at the bottom of the page in very small writing. You have the text. Let's just annotate that. The main body of the text is here where the light is. Now, sometimes you might, depending on what style of footnote they use, there are various styles. You might see a small little number next to a word, and then that next to that number at the bottom will be additional information. Sometimes a footnote will define a word that isn't commonly known. They're designed to give you extra information. But the footnotes in this would be down here. Let me just circle those for you so you can see them. The print on this is very small. So these here would be the footnotes. Okay, so that's a footnote. Moving on. Subheadings. Here we have a newspaper article, a very famous incident that a lot of us probably know about. And if you're as old as me and been around as long as me, you do remember it. I just barely. Men walk on moon. Okay, that is our main title. Now, our subheading comes directly below that. Our subheading is astronauts land on plane, collect rocks, plant flag. All right, so that's just talking about the events, obviously, of July 19th, 1969. Here is our subheading. The subheading is designed to be, they're usually a little bit longer than your main heading. Your main heading is just designed to get your attention. Your subheading will give you a little bit more information about what you're going to read about in the article or the story or whatever it is. It's giving you kind of a main idea of the text. So that is our subheading. All right, so moving on. After subheading, we have columns. Now, columns are just a way to organize the text. You can see that in this, they are organized in columns. Not all text and articles are organized in columns. Sometimes they're organized in paragraphs. Sometimes they're basically shaped around pictures. It's however the print designer has decided to lay it out. This is columns. So I'll just show you where the column is. Is here. These two here down the middle, you can see this article is divided into two separate columns. They have also very cleverly popped a subtitle there in the middle in that red box. Various places you can put a subtitle. They generally are right underneath the title. Okay, so that is how that's columns. Moving ahead to our next feature. Illustrations. Again, we're back to the man on the moon. Illustrations can take various forms. They can take the forms of photographs, as you can see here. Drawings, figures, charts, anything that actually gives you a visual interpretation of something you might read in an article or a piece of text. It's designed to enhance, designed to give you a little bit more knowledge. So you can see here, I made a second copy of it just to give it a little more emphasis. But in the middle, we have an illustration. We have the photograph of the man coming out of the lunar module. Let me just circle that for you guys. Here's our big illustration. And then I just put a copy of it over here as well. You can see it's the same photograph. But that's an example of an illustration. It's a photograph. It could also have an artist drawing, like I said, or a chart or a graph of some kind. Illustrations are very visual. Okay, heading, main heading. That should be fairly obvious. Here you have shuttle explodes. This is the main title of the article. And then you can probably also see what the subheading is. But our main heading is here. Main headings tend to be a lot shorter than your subheadings, definitely a lot shorter than your text. Again, they're designed just to grab your attention. You can also, they're often written in larger font sizes than the subheading, so your eye catches them. It's not uncommon also to see them in a different color if newspapers choose to do that. Again, they're designed to grab your attention, so you're like, what's going on? I want to read that. So here is our main heading, shuttle explodes. Okay, and then underneath, I know we've already talked about it, but here is our subheading, teacher crew killed in NASA fireball. Okay, captions. Captions very often go with illustrations. You see them a lot of times on photographs. So they're designed to give you some information maybe about the photograph. Sometimes captions are funny, sometimes, but they basically go along with photographs. So here we see in the photograph, we see the lovely Meghan Markle and her husband, Prince Harry, on their trip to New Zealand. And then the caption says, NZ, or New Zealand, really knows how to welcome royal cousins. Okay, royal cousins. Basically, they're talking about, they're making that play on words with knows. That's a greeting in New Zealand, but basically this is the caption down here, where we get too analytical on it. Here is our caption. And it's just basically giving you a little description or making a cute little statement about what's going on in the photograph. You often find the captions directly underneath a photograph or an illustration of some kind. And then we have paragraphs. Paragraphs are often a way to, they're a way to organize. A paragraph always has a topic sentence, as you can see here in the chart. A second. Okay, topic sentence. Topic sentences usually come at the very beginning of a paragraph, but they don't have to. They can come in the middle or even at the end sometimes, okay? Then you have your details that follow the topic. And then a conclusion. A conclusion is often just restating your topic and a summary of what you've said in the paragraph. A paragraph is over one single topic. Okay, so this one is obviously about sharks. So, and then about today's sharks. Sharks are a group of fish characterized by cartilaginous skeleton, 5 to 7 gills and pectoral fins that are not fused to the head. Okay, so that is your topic sentence because you know it's about sharks. All the other details follow along about sharks, and then you have a conclusion at the bottom. Paragraphs are organized usually in groups of 3 to 5 sentences, but they can be longer. When I was growing up, often they would indent on the in the text. Now, usually paragraphs are designated by a space in between them. But you still see them both ways. Okay, so let's have a go. Again, we're back to our IELTS question. And it says, label the reading passage with the correct letters in the box A to G. But keep in mind, again, like I said at the very beginning, you may not use all of them. Okay, so here is our article. Again, we saw this at the very beginning about health tea. So we want to label the features that we see. So, well, here at the top, health tea, that looks like our main heading. So our main heading is E. So we would put an E next to that. Looking down here, it looks like we have our subheading where it says Sid Cowan looks at the health properties of a favorite drink. So subheading in the question was B. You would probably have marks on your paper that you could put these, and this would all be in one single thing so you could see it. You wouldn't have to flip back and forth between slides. So this would be B, subheading. Okay, here we have where you see this little bracket. This is designating something. And this is a paragraph. It's a single thought, and it's about tea and the properties of tea. So it's your introductory paragraph. Paragraph was letter G, so we'll just put a G next to that. Right, at the bottom, we see a little arrow pointing to some very tiny, tiny writing, and we see some definitions, some further explanations, and these are our footnotes. Footnotes were A. So let me just pop an A next to that. Okay, we have a photograph that gives of tea leaves. So this gives a little bit of more of a visual information about tea, what it looks like when it's growing. So this is our illustration. So illustration from the question was D. I'll just mark D. All right, and then remember we have a thing called the caption that gives some information about the picture, tells you what's in it. So we have some writing next to the photograph. This is the caption. Caption, so that is F. Okay, that leaves C, column. We don't have columns. Everything's organized in horizontal paragraphs, not vertically. So, and that's absolutely fine. Do not be afraid if you do not use all of them. That is a very common feature in IELTS questions. They do that to really make you look and really make you think. They might also note that on the question. You may not use all the options. Anyway, that is our little tutorial for today about reading features of a text, how to identify features of a text. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are interested in signing up for the online course, please do respond to the email or the WhatsApp number that is on the YouTube page. And we hope to see you in future lessons. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much.